Okay, guys. Good evening, YouTube. Welcome to episode 48 of the FPL Family. We're laughing because we're wondering whether we should even come on this evening. What a joke of a game week. What an absolute joke of a game week, guys. You literally just been sitting here rinsing me about, oh, it's all right as long as you're above average. And then you said, I said, no, I'm not. And you said, well, the average is 26, so you're above average. And I said, no, 29 minus 4 is 25. So it's actually, you're bad at maths is the first thing to say. But secondly, I'm bad at FPL. That's the second thing to say.
I thought you said absolutely. You got 28.
Oh, don't even go. What a game week, guys. What a game week. And I'm sure there are some of you out there that have got, I don't know, Rondon, Maddison, Mane and King, and you're laughing. You're laughing. And triple Everton defence, I'm sure.
Jules.
Has Jules got all of them?
Well, she's got King, Mane captain. She's happy.
And Brighton went through in the cup.
She's happy.
Outrageous.
And she's in Jamaica.
And she's in Jamaica. But Brighton have drawn City. If you guys haven't seen the FA Cup draw yet, City versus Brighton, Wolves versus Watford. So I think the cup is, I think it's wide open. I think City obviously the hot favourites, but it'd be great if a team like Wolves deserve it. Wolves,
Joe,
fabulous.
Sorry,
I should say if Joe's in. Watford deserve it.
I don't want to upset you, Joe, but I'm supporting Wolves in the cup.
You're supporting Wolves in the cup. How can you say that? Mr. Finley Badder is a patron and a moderator and a very good interactor on Twitter, and you are going for Wolves in the cup.
But Jimenez is FPL gold, and I feel like he deserves something on the basis that he's been a legend.
Yeah, but on that basis, surely you want Wolves out of the cup so that they're more focused on FPL.
I feel like he deserves a reward.
Tell me this. Wolves' assets now in FPL, surely they don't care about the league anymore. They are all in on the cup, surely.
Well, yeah, but they...
Well, to be discussed. I mean, so much to talk about. Well, is there so much to talk about?
I feel like we're very high up tonight.
Are we high up? Well, I ain't changing the camera now. You'd have to slouch like this. And given the game we've had, I feel like a bit of a slouch. Might just put my head down and be down here for a bit.
Have we checked they can even hear us tonight?
I've checked. No one is in the live chat saying audio issues, and I think those gremlins are gone since we've switched back to the old laptop. We're not on the Mac anymore. We're back on good old Windows, is what I'm used to. And despite us poring over the stats and the differentials and the XG, how much time do we put into planning for Game Week 31? The answer, after all of that deliberation, was Huddersfield's Carlan Grant.
Well, the thing is, it's like I said to you, right? Actually, if I'd have been hit by a bus on Monday, I'd have done really well in FPL because my bus team is amazing.
Right, okay. So who was in your bus team then? Who did you have?
Firmino, Lanzini.
Ooh.
Who else was in there that got loads of people that
Captain Mane.
Captain was on Mane.
Yeah.
There was people in there that just got points, and then I traded them for people like David Luiz.
FPL does like the craziest things to you, doesn't it? I mean, literally, guys.
It's the only time you've ever wished you got hit by a bus, wasn't it?
Literally sitting here, and on Saturday, obviously, the game's kicked off on Saturday, 3 o'clock, and Maddison was one of the first goals of the weekend, wasn't it? Gave it a little silent fist bump. Here we go, this is it, Maddison.
Then got booked straight after.
Then he got booked straight away, but what he got booked for was absolutely fine, so I'm fine with that. But I was like, here we go, Maddison, the triple captain Salah's going to pay out. This is my week. This is the week, guys. It all turns around. Oh my God. Absolute rubbish from then on in, wasn't it? Absolute rubbish.
Even Richarlison's trolled you this week.
Richarlison, goal and assist. What are you even doing? Absolutely unreal. And then what's
you
even...
Jinxed
Wilson, he's gone. Forget getting him. I've still got him. So get him out your teams, guys, whatever you do. But the West Ham. I mean, we're going to talk about the games in a minute, but West Ham.
Don't talk to me about the double up on West Ham.
Huddersfield, not scored a goal this year away from home, I don't think. I mean, in 2019, not scored away from home. Score free at the London Stadium.
Because I doubled up on West Ham defenders.
There's people that have tripled up, Sam. I wouldn't worry about your double up. There are triple ups out there that failed. Absolutely unreal.
But.
There's no buts. It's terrible, can we?
But I did get a green arrow.
Did you? And all is said and done, you've gone up.
I don't quite know how.
Flipping heck. So, we'll cover your team a bit later on because obviously you were free hitting.
Well, I'll tell you I do know how.
Go on.
It's Mane and Rondon.
Mane and Mr. Salomon Rondon, the Venezuelan legend that is Mr. Rondon. We're going to cover your team a bit later on, obviously.
Let's not bother.
Do the usual points updates as well. We're going to skip very quickly over my team and not talk about anybody other than James Maddison. And then we're going to talk about your team for a bit. We are a bit clearer, guys, on what Game Week 32 and Game Week 33 looks like now. Thanks to Ben Crellin on Twitter. I'm sure all of you guys are following at Ben Crellin already on Twitter. BenCrellin. Ben Crellin. Within minutes of the Brighton penalty shootout finish, he's posted, here's what the Game Week updates look like, here's what 32 looks like, here's what 33 looks like. So with Ben's help, we've got a couple of slides a bit later on where we'll talk about what those fixtures look like. And we'll start to look ahead. And I know next Thursday, obviously, we will start to look ahead when we do our regular Game Week 32 preview video. And in fact, it won't even be next Thursday. When will it be? When are the fixtures? A week Thursday, I think, because we've got international break now, of course. 2 weeks to go.
Yeah, I forgot about England.
2 weeks to go. So it's a long stint between tonight and the next time we live stream. So it would be remiss, I think, not to have a look forward to Game Week 32 and what 33 potentially looks like. Given that
you're right.
Given that there's a lot of chip strategy to go on, lots of players maybe performing or not performing this game week that we want to have a look at, and.
Oh my God! Imagine if my triple captain Sterling gets injured on international.
Oh well, and listen, I want to move on from Game Week 31, frankly, as quickly as I can, because it was absolutely, for the most part, dire. And I'm sure as many of you guys are in there with really, really good scores. So get into the live chat if you've got anything over about 45. I think is a really, really good score.
If you've got anything over about 10, it's quite good.
Anything over 10 is a good week. Anything over 10 is a good week.
Well, people were taking like minus 12s, minus.
There
50.
were some big points hits.
So, you know.
Some big points hits.
If you're going to take minus 12, minus 16, then actually if you've got 10, you've done quite well this week.
And as Andrew Yee is saying in the live chat, Andrew, welcome, good evening, quite rightly is saying, and I feel this as a Liverpool fan, I'm completely conflicted right now. Completely conflicted because not only were Liverpool a bit lucky to get the win at Fulham today, but it was thanks to a certain Mr. James Milner. So I can't feel bad about the guy. He's gone out there and we've got 3 points, which we desperately needed as part of the title race.
Yeah.
But Millie coming on, not only has he shanked it, I mean, it's a Virgil van Dijk and an Alisson mistake, but it's Milner's slice that's put that in that's created that situation that's led to the goal. So there's 8 points from Trent and Robbo that I haven't got, and he's on the pitch to take the penalty that Salah should have taken.
I mean, you won.
I'm saying nothing. We won. I'm happy.
At least your team played this weekend.
I'm happy.
Mine, we didn't even play.
Well, listen, we've got to say hello to a few people.
I haven't even got like a happy Spurs story to come off the back of the free hit woes.
No happy. Well, there is a happy Spurs story. The stadium is about to land. It's about to open the Crystal Palace game.
They've announced it.
That is happening, isn't it? Weirdly,
not on the TV.
But weirdly not on TV. But also weirdly midweek. Is it a midweek game?
We get to rearrange game.
So it's Spurs Palace midweek, not on TV. The first game.
I mean, I imagine
you'd bought a blockbuster game, wouldn't you?
Well, I imagine they might, because there's going to be a lot of fixtures that midweek now, because that's going to be that's double game week 32. So there's going to be a load of fixtures midweek, so they might put one on.
All right, okay, well, Zaha potentially to send all the Spurs fans
home.
Shush.
What's wrong with you?
I'm full of Schadenfreude because of my game week. I'm full of Schadenfreude.
What?
Let's say hello to a few people before I go even more crazy for this game.
I mean, honestly. I mean, this week couldn't have gone any worse, could it?
I sort of feel like
in the Champions League.
Yeah.
My free hit team just goes to rack and ruin. I mean, I would have been better off with Monday's team. If the Champions League draw had gone in any other way, I'd have had a ticket to it. But no, it's on the one night that we. Oh.
Listen, people are tuning in, Sam, for a bit of positivity about FPL. This is why we play the game, not just for the game weeks where we'll smash 100. That's anyone can do that.
When do we smash 100?
As soon as I said it, I thought I haven't ever smashed. As soon as I said it, I thought I haven't smashed 100 for a very long time. They seem like halcyon days. We've not had those for a very long time. But sometimes a game week hits you in the face like a wet fish and you think that was crap. And that game week we've just had was absolute nonsense, and we should rejoice in all things that was nonsense about it, because sometimes you just have to take the mick out yourself a little bit. Triple captain Salah was a massive fail. That's the elephant in the room. Let's get that out of the way. That was a bad move on my part. Again, I don't think he was terrible today, but he was a bit like he's played over the last few weeks. He was just naff.
I think the thing is, I'm really disappointed in myself. I think that's the way we're going to sum up this game week.
Don't hate the game. Hate the player.
You're disappointed in myself. I blame myself because had I not listened to all of this nonsense about Mane and his not being in training,
which was partly from me, I hasten to add,
mostly from me.
I thought it was a genuine risk you could invest in. Genuine.
You and Phil Babb are not on my Christmas card list. Let's put it that way. And yeah, so if I'd have left the captain's armband on Mane, and then this game week would have been a lovely green arrow. Instead, I've ended up down with you.
Well, listen, let's say hello to a few people before we get started. There's our Twitter on the left-hand side, at FPL Family on Twitter. Let's see what you guys are saying in the live chat. We've had a super chat from, Gaurav Asamol. Thank you, Gaurav, for sending a super chat for an unidentified amount of money. I actually don't know what that currency is, Gaurav, but it's a yellow one. So it's a very nice one, Gaurav. So thank you very much for sending that super chat. Anybody that can convert that to GBP, I'd be most grateful. He says, I've got the exact funds for my Game Week 32 team using a free hit. Salah's going down tonight, so I need to activate it now. Is there any chance that no more games get added and I waste my free hit, etc., etc.?
No.
So I think you're absolutely fine to do the free hit tonight. What you've got to be careful of, and you quite rightly said this to me when we were watching the games this afternoon, is that if, for example, so say you want to tinker, it's not really a chip to tinker with, is it really? Because if you say you activate the free hit and you take, say, Jimenez out, I don't want Jimenez, take him out, and you lose 0.5, let's say, of value.
Yeah.
And then before Game Week 32 kicks off, you think, no, actually, I do want him, and you put him back in.
You have to pay full price.
You've got to pay market price then.
Yeah,
you don't get him back at the price you sold him at.
No, that's right. When he comes back in for Game Week 33, you'll get him back at the price you sold him at. However, if you do the hokey cokey with players within the game week, within your free hit week, you will not gain. You will not be able to buy them back at the price you sell them at.
Yes, you've got to be careful of that, Gaurav, yeah?
Be sure that when you are selling a player you have value invested in, that you definitely don't want them for 32 if you're playing your free hit in 32.
And guys, those of you in the live chat that are saying that is rupees. Thank you, guys. I didn't know that. Genuinely didn't know that. It's just Indian rupees, guys. So thank you. And Gaurav, thank you for the super chat. Hopefully that helps you a little bit with the free hit.
It must be really late. Thank you for staying up.
Thank you for staying up. Thank you for tuning in. Joe Finley Batter is here. How are you doing? Who cares about FPL? He says, who cares? Troy Deeney will be lifting the FA Cup in May, he says. Who cares about FPL, Joe Finley Batter?
Likely to be against Man City as well, and you're going to lift it.
Liam Healy is in. Hi, Liam Sam. 47 points this week. Not bad. Pretty good, I think.
Give you a clap for that.
Sam Afane, I think you say that. If I've said that wrong, Sam, apologies. Let's just call him Sam. Or her, Sam. I don't know.
Brilliant name.
51 points, no hits. Boom.
Well,
Boom.
That is a game week.
That is what you call game week. Very good. FPL Dubs is in. How are you doing? What a shambles of a game week, he says. Well, FPL Dubs and everybody else that's had a shambles of a game week, A, join the club, and B, thank you for joining, because often when it's a bad game week, we get about 20 of you in, don't we? So
it's the place to be. When you have a bad game week, come and join the family. That's what you need.
Come and sulk with Lee, because he's bound to have had a bad game week as well. It's bound to have happened.
I put myself in that category as well.
I think you've about level. I think you're.
No, I've got.
I think you've done all right.
About a K up, I think.
I think you're all right.
I did say to you yesterday, just before the game week kicked off, didn't I? That I wanted 2K in green arrows out of my free hit. And had I left my captain's armband on Mane, that would have happened. So, what can you do? Okay, very good. All right. Harrison Lee is in. How are you doing? Mark Nunez is in. He says, Lee, how many Twitter followers did you block today? A lot, Mark. A lot. I can tell you the button was bashed. I probably blocked more people on Twitter than I've done in the almost 2 years I've been on it. He said to me, he's sitting over there, he went really quiet for a little while. I was like, what are you doing? He was like, just blocking people. I don't know. There was people being genuinely blockable people, but I also was in a really blocky mood today, guys. So if you are regular to these live streams and I've blocked you, say so in the live stream and I will unblock you. You never block the regulars. I hope I haven't. I really hope I haven't. You won't have blocked any regulars. Surely you'd recognise the name. Probably a flipping Patreon on here I've blocked. I don't know. You've blocked Joe, haven't you? Finley Badder's been blocked. He's been blocked a long time, yes, an absolute long time. MU Fan TV is in. How you doing? Rushil is in. How you doing, Rushil? Darren O'Brien is in. How you doing? Andrew Yee we mentioned before. Ginger Ninja morning from New Zealand. Good morning, Ginger Ninja. How you doing? Islam Salem is here. How you doing? Alex Summerson, Lucas Wong. Jeff is in. Jeff, how you doing? How did you and Maria get on this week? I'd like to see that. Conrad is here, Shashank, Kevin Melia, all sorts of you guys. So thank you for joining. 271 of you watching, which in a game week like we've just had is frankly a bit of a miracle, guys. So thank you for turning up. Thank you for joining us. There's our Twitter on the left-hand side at FPL Family. You can also follow us on Instagram at FPL Family, where you can get hold of Sam. Patreon.com/FPL Family if you want to join in the Slack and the Ohana stuff and the Manager of the Month and all the Patreon stuff and you want to support us.
head over to that. All the links in the description. Some polls for you, Sam. Some polls for you this evening. One from a Mr. Neil Baxter. He asked the question, buy or sell Liverpool and Spurs assets ahead of the double game week because they're not doubles. I've kind of extrapolated that question a little bit from Neil.
Spurs is a double.
Yeah, so I think it was mostly about Liverpool, right? But one of the question, I've taken the question and added a bit of value to it. I hope Neil doesn't mind. I've added a bit of value to it by asking the question about which teams do we need to focus, which of the single game week teams deserve our attention?
That's a good question.
Because I think a lot of the free hitters, myself included, and even the non-free hitters will be looking to use their transfers to get double game week teams in. Makes sense.
Yeah.
But there are some single game week teams, and we've seen it before with FPL, where some single game week team will come out of the blue, smash somebody 4-0 and a player like Richarlison gets hat-trick. And it's happened. It's happened, guys.
And the other thing to think about, obviously, you've got to keep in mind game week 33, where you're going to want a very, very different set of players, potentially. So...
yeah, if you're not on free hit.
If you're not on free hit for 32,
yes,
like myself... it's keeping those things in mind as well when you're thinking about the single game week clubs that have got a decent fixture that also play in 33.
Yes, absolutely right. So as well as that question in terms of who should we pay attention to in terms of single game weekers, there's the obvious question about, well, where should our double game week attention go as well, and who are the key candidates? Which teams should we focus on? And I've phrased the question, which of these teams should we focus on, except City? Because City have got, I think, Fulham and Huddersfield, or maybe Fulham and Cardiff.
It's Cardiff, Fulham and Cardiff.
Fulham and Cardiff.
Triple captain Sterling.
So, frankly, if you've got a free hit, or even if you haven't, you should have free City, in my opinion. I mean, I think that's a bit of a given, especially if you're free hitting, you have free City.
The only caveat to that is it's City rotation risks.
You still have free. I think you still have free. But anyway, I phrased the question, of the rest of the teams outside of City, where else should we focus our double game week attention? And then there's another question from Rushil. Rushil, thank you for sending this in. What to do with Doherty and Jimenez? Do you want to sell both, keep both, sell only Doherty, or sell only Jimenez? Interesting question, given what's happened in the FA Cup. Wolves, fantastic result in the FA Cup this weekend against Manchester United. Played really well. Played really, really well. Espirito Santo had them really fired up for that game. And I get the feeling that they are very focused on this cup. I know Watford and Brighton are, of course, and of course City are, but I get the feeling Wolves are. He really wants to win that trophy, and frankly, you wouldn't begrudge them it. I think they've played fantastically well in the cup, and they've been great in the league. So I think the reason for asking that question, thank you, Rochelle, is we said it before. Should we now be considering selling their assets from an FPL perspective? Are they going to defocus from the league? Are you going to sell the FPL's best player, Raul Jimenez? I don't know. Just Rushil wants the question asked, and Rushil shall get his answer at the end of the poll.
I can't believe we're still talking about selling Jimenez.
Wow, it's happening. It's happening. Defocusing on the league. Right, so there...
Did you not ask my question, which was, can we do Game Week 31 again?
I didn't put that one in, darling. No, I didn't put, can we play 31 again? You've done all right. You always do this. You always, it's such a bad game week. 25.
This is the most...
There's people on like teams.
This is 18, the most 19. Negative I felt about a game week for a long time, to the point where I haven't got any notes in front of me. I haven't even got my notebook.
Literally not a single note.
That's how bad I feel about this game week.
Yet you were 12k and you've got a 1k rank rise to 11k, and you feel bad about this game week.
Yeah.
Right. Get out. Get out. I've had enough of you. I've had enough. You've broken me finally.
Are we getting divorced?
That's it.
FPL divorce.
Finally, you've broken me. Oh, there's people sitting on like 10. Somebody in the live chat a minute ago said he got 23 minus 8. It's like, come on. You're at 11k. Just
16 years and it's over.
Out.
16 years.
Right, that's
done.
it. Let's get on with these games. Goodness me, it's enough nonsense. Right, I've lost my screen now. Here we go. I've lost my screen.
What are we doing? Are we going through the games?
Well, we are going to talk about the games. Obviously, not that much to talk about, so we're going to rattle through these, I think, and then we're going to start looking at the future. We're going to start looking at 32 and 33 and where we go from there. One team that I was heavily looking at for game week 32, and a team that I bought in Hazard and I bought in David Luiz as well, because I thought, well, game week 31 away at Everton, I can't see that there's. I don't know why that says 0-0 as well. By the way, I need to. As they definitely didn't.
Wish it was 0-0.
Definitely wasn't a 0-0 draw. We need to see if that changes. There we go. Cool. That's how long I've had this window up. So Everton 2, Chelsea 0. I must admit, I was bringing Chelsea assets in with a view to hopefully they get something in this game, because in 33 I really want them because they've got West Ham at home, which is a much nicer fixture, and West Ham are out of form. They just conceded 3 to Huddersfield. So I'd like to think my Chelsea assets can get something. I'm worried about my Chelsea assets now. They were very poor today. Very, very poor. What did you make of the game? Did you think Chelsea were as bad as I'm making out, or what did you think?
Yeah. I thought they were useless.
They were.
And quite frankly, I'm pleased to see my free hitters leave my team. They were that bad that I looked at Hazard and David Luiz and thought, I'm glad I don't have to see your faces again.
So despite the fact that they play in 33, which you may or may not be considering them for, they've got a reasonable double in 32. I need to have a look at what they've got in 32. Bear with me, I shall find it. Cardiff and Brighton, it looks like they're playing. And Brighton at home as well. We know about Brighton are away from home. Surely you must be considering somebody from Chelsea, or did you watch that today and just think, I don't want anything to do with it?
Basically, what you've just said is what I think. So I was watching them today on the basis that I've obviously got free transfer going into this week, and Chelsea looked like a good Chelsea. I was thinking I'd take a -4, so I get another City player and I get a Chelsea player, because then I've got the Chelsea player will see me through game week 33 as well, and that would be quite nice. And then I watched them today and thought, who?
Yeah. Not good, was it? It's not good. A question I have to answer just before we move on. Florian, thank you, Florian, for joining. Florian Sandu. He said, have the doubles been confirmed? Now, listen, I think the doubles are going to be concrete, set in stone, sometime between Monday and Wednesday next week.
The only one that's definitely been set in stone is the Spurs one, because Spurs have done that themselves. They've announced it.
I think so, but I'm pretty sure the United double is locked in as well. I'm pretty sure
set on the game.
The Wolves double, Burnley and Manchester United is set as well. So there are some that are set, Florian, but to answer your question, not all. You're right, not all have been confirmed. What I'm working on is this, guys. So 2 seconds. Let me just find this before we go back to the games. These are the fixtures according to Ben Crennan, at Ben Crennan on Twitter. So game week 32 looks a bit like this. This is a snapshot of it. You've got these fixtures here, are all the teams on the left-hand side there that are playing doubles, and then these guys are playing singles. Now, you're right. Everyone that's in orange there or in blue is TBC. Now, what we're expecting and what Ben is expecting is for it to be confirmed, so that this is what happens.
Yeah.
So I think we should do tonight's stream on the basis that that's what's going to be game week 32 is going to look like, right?
Yeah. So the Spurs Palace game has been officially announced by Spurs as being the opening game of the season.
Right. So that's pretty much locked in
on the 3rd of April, which makes it a double game week 32. So Spurs playing Liverpool and Palace that week is confirmed. It's not confirmed on the game, so they've not put them as double game week as yet in FPL world. But in terms of what Spurs have announced, it will be.
And some of you guys are saying thank you for the live chats. This is an old tweet. There's an updated version, so thank you guys. Yeah, I mean I've been setting up the stream for the last hour and a half, so there's a pretty good chance this is potentially already out of date. So to get the absolute latest, if you're not doing it already, go and follow Ben on Twitter is the advice I would give. But just to go back to the match itself, that's us. We're too big. We're too big. Let's go to here. So to go back to the match itself, any more thoughts on the game? What about the Everton assets? Now Everton, I think away at West Ham in 32. Dare we even mention Richarlison? We're not going back there, are we? 2-2 for Richarlison now.
I don't know. Right, okay, so here we go. Are you going back there?
No, definitely not.
Then I might.
Definitely not. I did. Right, see. Well, I noticed the goal he scored today was, a real poacher's goal, and it's a poacher's goal he scored in the last game week as well. So he's in the right place at the right time. He's not, dribbling past loads of players and slotting it in the corner like he, potentially was at the beginning of the season.
Flair about it.
Doesn't seem to be a lot of flair, but we'll take it with, if you're a Richarlison owner, if there's any of you still out there, you take a goal wherever it comes. You don't care whether he dribbles it past free or whether it's a tap in.
He can come off the back of his knee for all I care.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Richarlison looking, I don't want to say back on the radar because I just don't think so. I don't think so. And for 32, I don't think if you're on a free hit you would get him, because Everton are away at West Ham. You're not going to fill your 11 key slots for somebody like Richarlison.
Particularly as you never know what West Ham team is going to show up, do you?
Precisely. Yeah, precisely. They are home to Arsenal in game week 33, so there is a fixture there at least. And we know that Arsenal can be porous at the best of times. But I think if you were going to do that, if you were going to bring in somebody from Everton, it would probably be for 33. I don't think you'd bring him in for 32. Certainly not on a free hit. So there we go. So there's that game, Chelsea versus Everton. I don't want to spend too much more time on it than that. Higuain, static again. I thought he looked really not a good player, Higuain. Just
not a good player.
I just think he's he slowed them right down. I honestly...
They're going to upset Tips again. He gets very...
Yeah, I know.
Oh, poor
I
Tips.
know. But even Tips must... I mean, even Tips would say, I think, and, you know, Tips is... He's the same as me. He's bold enough to say, if his team's been bad, his team's been bad. I'm not going to sit here and say Liverpool were good today. We weren't. We were flipping lucky to win that game. And Chelsea were... You know, they were bad. And to be honest... I've got Hazard and Luiz in my team now. I've made my bed. I've got to stick with it for game week 33. I'll be free hitting in 32, guys. More on that later. But I've got to stick with Hazard and Luiz now at home to West Ham in 33. I've got to. I've made my bed, so I'm there. I'm not going to transfer them out. Everton 2, Chelsea 0. What about the other game today then? Fulham 1, Liverpool 2. Obviously, the triple captain fail on Salah was a disaster. There's no doubt about it. It was a disaster. There was a couple of opportunities where, you know, Mane put him in and he shot it straight at Rico, didn't he? And maybe he takes the penalty if Milner's not on the pitch. But nevertheless, it was a bit of a bold move to go Salah captain, given the form that he's in. Just didn't pay off. Just didn't happen. So, what was your thoughts on the game? Anything to say about the Liverpool assets going into game week 32? Because home to Spurs, I don't think people are going to be... Listen, I don't think people are going to be rushing to Liverpool assets in 32, given there's no double. But
I'm actually in a quandary. So I'm going to play Mane in 32 against Spurs.
Sure.
On the basis that he is in such good form that I won't bench him. So that means and the other good thing about that is that given that I'm therefore happy to have one single game week and play Mane, that means I don't have to use my free transfer for that. So that's fine. Robbo is a different situation though, because I don't see you keeping a clean sheet against us, because we will have to come at you. We have to. We have no choice.
But that's what I like about owning a Mane or a Salah.
Yeah.
If Spurs are going to come and attack, happy days.
Of course, but we have to come and attack you. It's the only way we can do it.
You can feel the tension rising already, can't you?
Don't you love a family
I've already told
derby?
you to get out once today.
We're already divorced anyway, so by game week 32 it won't matter. So I think God, we've got to get through all of international break with this argument.
Tension's just going to be there for 2 weeks. Game week 32. If you derail our title bid,
derail our Champions League bid,
you'll get Champions League. Did you see Chelsea today? You're going to get top 4. Don't worry about it. I would not worry about that, Sam, if I were you. Goodness me.
But I think I'm going to bench Robbo. I think.
Okay.
And play Mane. It's difficult, isn't it? Because and I think Liverpool are a prime example of what we were talking about before, about a team that are potentially going to get overlooked by the free hitters going into 32, but Spurs defensively haven't been great, and so there is, and we will go to play. We won't go to sit back and park a bus. We will go to play a game, and that will allow you opportunities and space behind. And the form that people like Mane are in, that would make me want to play them. And so there's just a risk of you know, filling your team with free hitters that are doubles.
Okay, let's see what you guys are saying about Spurs and Liverpool then. FPL Chancellor, Dan is here. How are you doing, Dan? I think today's game will be like every other Liverpool match from now on, tight and nervous. Probably low scoring. Yeah, it was tight. It was nervous. It wasn't a particularly comfortable watch today as a Liverpool fan, I have to say. Football Kid is saying Spurs will lose to Man City 3 times next month. Goodness gracious.
10 days. Goodness 3 times gracious. In 10 days.
A Samatar is saying Spurs versus Liverpool on the same day and time. How will you guys do this? Genuinely don't know. For you guys that are close to the Champions League, you'll know that actually Spurs versus City and Liverpool versus Porto is on at exactly the same time, on exactly the same day, and we only have one TV in our house.
That plays anyway.
That has got BT Sport, so I don't know is the answer. I don't know.
We will either,
I might be moving out for a day.
We will either toss a coin, and whichever team's playing, one of us will watch it on our phone, or I will go to my dad.
I would imagine I will be working late that day. Might be a late meeting in the office.
We can't be, because you've got to put the kids to bed because I'm getting my hair done.
Oh, God, you've even thought ahead to that.
Well, we were supposed to be going on date night, weren't we? And then the Champions League draw got done.
The Champions League got in the way, can't believe it.
So I might, because my mum will be at the game, so I might go and watch it with my dad.
Azzy is saying Salah, very greedy at the moment. He wants that 50th goal in the Premier League, but also his positioning at corners was weird. Yeah, okay, I didn't pick up on that, but okay, nice comment. Vinyl Richard, good evening, how are you doing? No Liverpool players on the free hit. The perfect sword move to go without and use funds to load up on City, United, Spurs and Chelsea. Load up on Spurs in the free hit. Let's see what you guys are saying. Salah should have scored. Trying too hard. Once he get that 50th goal, he'll be flying again. Yeah, okay, absolutely. It does look as if he's trying a bit too hard.
He might not get that till the end of the season.
It certainly does look. Well, yeah, Man U Fan TV, Salah very poor. Yeah, absolutely. When we take Salah out, he'll turn good. Sheriff, he did. Yeah, it's probably absolutely probably going to happen. But I will say that for my free hit in 32, and we'll do a bit more in the lead up to Game Week 32, probably a couple of weeks from now when we do our next live stream. And keep in touch on Twitter at FPL Family as well, as my free hit team continues to evolve over the next 2 weeks. I'm not sure how many Liverpool players I'm going to have, I do agree with Dan. I think the games are going to be nervy, cagey. Liverpool Spurs, let's think about that. Neither of us can afford to lose that. Definitely can't afford to lose it. And if Spurs lose it, you're in big trouble for the top 4. So I'm with Dan. I think it's going to be nervous and cagey. It'll be 0-0 for a long time. Potentially, maybe even go with defenders there. I don't know. But Salah and Mane, despite Mane's form, and he is the form player in the Premier League right now, I don't think I'm going to go with him. I think there's better options in the midfield from City and Chelsea and United and Wolves even, So there we go. Fulham 1, Liverpool 2. Liverpool lucky, frankly, in my opinion. Lucky. Not the first time Liverpool have had a goalkeeping error lead to a match-winning goal. I can think of Jordan Pickford in the Merseyside derby. I can think of the Palace keeper, the sub-keeper, what's his name?
Keita?
Speroni.
Oh, Speroni.
Speroni flapped it in his own net a bit, didn't he? And there's more. I'm pretty sure there's more.
Yes. He did flap it in his own net, you're right.
There's more than one occasion.
But he's about Liverpool... 500 Speroni now, so, maybe...
Yeah. Well, listen, he's not, not the first time Liverpool have been a bit lucky towards the end of games, to say the least. A super chat from Anish Thakkar. Anish, thank you very much for joining us. Aguero triple captain, Sterling Miljokovic in -8, free hit in 37-38. So I guess that is Anish's strategy for next game week. Aguero triple captain, which I think is going to be a pretty popular thing. For those that are left with their triple captain chip, like you, that have already played free hit and not doing it in 32, like you, I think City triple captain is nailed on, isn't it? It depends who you go with, but I think that I think it is nailed on.
Yeah.
Let's talk briefly about the games. West Ham 4, Huddersfield 3. I mean, what an unbelievable game that is. Huddersfield to pop up with 3 goals was frankly bonkers. Some of us are doubling up on West Ham. I had Fabianski, and what the hell? 3 goals from Huddersfield, and where did that even come from?
I mean, I looked a lot at keepers and who would be the best keeper option for this, and came to the decision that it would be Fabianski on the basis that Huddersfield just don't score goals away from home. They just don't really score any goals, do they? Really, even at home.
Did you have Declan Rice as well?
Yeah, I had Declan Rice as well on the basis that but he's also quite offensive. So I thought maybe there was an opportunity there, playing in midfield, isn't he? So. I mean, but yet again, I'm left kind of thinking, well, I'm not really surprised, because with West Ham, you just do not know which West Ham team are going to turn up from one week to the next, or even in this game, from one half to the next.
And do you know what? That's exactly right. It was a game of 2 halves, wasn't it? Absolutely right. West Ham, you can sit here and say, what a comeback, but equally, how are they 3-1 down? I noticed Jan Sievert after the game. He literally just couldn't believe what he'd seen. I don't think.
No.
I think he was literally thinking, right, we've come to West Ham. We're going to win this game, and I don't think he thinks, or anyone in Huddersfield thinks, that they can stay up. But what a morale! That's a foundation to build off, winning at the London Stadium against West Ham. So to lose it 4-3 must be absolutely devastated. And as Diraj is saying in the live chat, thank you, Diraj, only clean sheet this game week was from Everton.
And who put Pickford down as the keeper to get a clean sheet?
No one is picking that. I think there was a few Digne, maybe free hitters. I think maybe a few people gone for Digne.
I don't think there were many free hitters with Everton defenders, but I think there were people that weren't free hitting that still had Digne left.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, maybe.
Because I don't think anyone really thought Chelsea wouldn't score.
I don't think so. And in 32, West Ham then host Everton.
But what happens with them? Which West Ham do we get?
And this is it. I mean, I've thought for a little while now that they're on the beach, and despite the comeback, I still think they're on the beach. Felipe Anderson finally broke his duck for a very long time, got an assist, but that's hardly making me think he's an FPL asset or is anyway back in anywhere near my team. So given we're about to go into 32, either free hit or not, West Ham not really featuring on my radar at the moment.
No.
Too much on the beach.
I mean, potentially if West Ham...
One foot in their flip-flops already, in my opinion.
If we see a decent performance from West Ham in 32, then potentially for 33, because West Ham do have a game in 33, maybe. Because don't they play who do they play in 33?
33, Everton are at home to Arsenal.
No, West Ham.
Oh, sorry. West Ham are, away at Chelsea.
Yeah,
so tough, right?
Yeah, but Chelsea defensively aren't very good. So potentially, if I see something from West Ham in 32, then I suppose there's potential to get in a West Ham player in for 33.
Sure.
But they'd have to show a lot of improvement.
Yes, I think you're right. But I'm not going anywhere near them. And Huddersfield, let's not even go there. Another defence that seems to be letting us down lately, more often than not, is Mr. Pereira at Leicester.
Oh, I benched him.
And for those that bought in Maguire, I mean, that is just really hard luck, isn't it? Really hard luck. And there was quite a few, I wouldn't say quite a few free hitters with Maguire, but I think
quite a few.
I think there was quite a few going in there because genuinely there's goal threat there. Genuinely, away at Burnley, it's, I think, a reasonable pick, guys. So those of you that went Maguire in your free hit team, or if you bought him in even for this game week, it's a good transfer. It's a sensible transfer, but 190 seconds in, that is it. He was off. And fair play to Leicester for playing the majority of that game with 10 men and still coming out 2-1. I'm not quite sure what's happening with Burnley. They desperately need the points. They'll be looking at that thinking they've dropped a real one there.
I mean, I guess if you free hitted him in, then it's not that bad because at least, I know it's the points problem, but at least you didn't take a points hit for him, and at least you don't have to deal with him through his ban. But if you transferred him in and took a points hit, and now you've got him stuck,
tough.
Stuck with you, that's real frustration.
It's tough. What I will say is, and I know that you might not agree with me on this, but I think Maddison is really starting to look half decent. And I know he scored a belt of a free kick, so it's easy for me to sit here and say that. But I genuinely think he's the sort of player that once a manager's got their arm around him, and Rodgers is that sort of manager. He's that sort of manager. How much did he put his arm around the likes of Suarez when he was at Liverpool and players like that, and Sterling? He put his arm around Sturridge, Rodgers as well. When Sturridge is rubbish, right? But Rodgers put his arm around him, and all right, he's playing with one of the best in the world at the time in Suarez and Gerrard behind. But Sturridge was great once Rodgers got into his mind. I think Rodgers is just starting to get the best out of Vardy, just starting to get the best out of Maddison. And we said on the FPL show, this is not really a Vardy game, right? Burnley were never going to leave that much space in behind. It was always going to be Barnes or Maddison or somebody like that was going to unlock that defence. So not only is he getting, I think, the best out of Maddison now, so I think Maddison's a good pick going forward, but Tielemans was very good this game. I know he got the assist, but could have had more. I really like the look of Tielemans. Good signing, I think, from Leicester.
But, again, you're not going to bring these players in before game week 32. Because they've only got a single. It's against Bournemouth, who since
Bournemouth at home though.
Yeah, but Bournemouth are better at the moment since Callum Wilson's been back. I know that he didn't get anything this weekend, but they seem to play better when Callum Wilson plays. I don't know what it is about the shape of Bournemouth, but they just seem to improve. I'm certainly not going to bring in a Leicester player ahead of that Bournemouth game. I think they play in 33.
Yeah.
So for 33, I'll be keeping a close eye on Leicester during that Bournemouth game, with the intention of getting one of them in for 33.
See, I think that could be, and I know we talked about it earlier in the stream, I think that could be, that's the one game I've got my eye on. There's a couple I have, but that's one of the single game weaker teams that I think actually could do damage to the free hitters that focus just on the doubles. I think Leicester at home to Bournemouth is a nice fixture in 32. I think Rodgers is just starting to apply his mentality. The players are just starting to react to that. Bournemouth are bad away from home. I think by Bournemouth picking up a point against Newcastle at the weekend, I think they're more or less there, Bournemouth. I think they know that it's kind of flip-flop time, getting towards flip-flop time, and it's down on the coast. They're probably there already.
Maybe.
I think that's potentially one of the games. Let's see. I don't know. We're going to have a look at my free hit team and how it evolves over the next 2 weeks, but Maddison could be in there as a bit of a differential just because I don't think many people will have him in their free hit. But let's see. Leicester versus Bournemouth. One of the single game week games to look out for, guys. I think Leicester could do well in that game. Burnley, for their part in that game, nice goal by McNeil, wasn't it? Very nice goal by McNeil.
It was, yeah.
But again, as you keep rightly saying, home to Wolves in 32, despite what we might be saying about Wolves being on the beach, I still think that's a tough game for Burnley, so I don't think you're bringing in anybody in your 32 free hit ahead of that game, so I think we'll move swiftly on. And the last game of the week was Bournemouth 2, Newcastle 2. Lots and lots of chatter and lots of people bringing in Callum Wilson on the back of his good performance in the previous game week. Here we go. That's FPL. It's Josh King that's the one that does the business, and Josh King on penalties as well. So it just seems obvious, doesn't it? Sometimes the chatter about these double game weeks and on Twitter and everywhere else can kind of bog you down a little bit. Sometimes you just need to take a step back and say, well, Callum Wilson's just coming back from injury. Yes, he played well last game, but Josh King's been there for a while. He's not scoring that freely, but he's on pens.
Yeah, but we didn't know for definite if he was still on pens because he missed one in the last game week.
That's true, yeah, that's very true.
So there was a lot of... and we didn't know the impact that last game week would have on Josh King in terms of, you know, Wilson came back, played really well, King missed a pair, all of that other stuff that was playing out in the background. I hadn't seen anything really from Josh King over the last, 5 weeks of Callum Wilson's injury or however long he was out for to make me think, yes, it's Josh King I want going into that game week.
Yeah.
So as a free hitter going into that game week, the only Bournemouth player I was looking at, given particularly his partnership with Ryan Fraser, which has been so good of late, well, when they play together, it's very, very strong.
Yeah.
And all the statistics said, you know, when Wilson plays, it's Wilson.
It was the way that they clicked in the last game when he came back. It wasn't just him, but Fraser and King and Brooks, and they all played together. They all played well, didn't they, as soon as he came back? So you're thinking, well, he's the catalyst. Let's go for him. But listen, if you've got King over Wilson, fair play, because King was only owned by about 7 or 8%, so it's a nice differential for this really game week. Newcastle, for their part, Mr. Rondon with an absolutely sensational free kick down at the Vitality.
Didn't even know he was on free kicks.
No, nor did I. I thought Matty Ritchie took the free kicks, or maybe even Almiron, I think, had a reputation in the MLS for taking a free kick. But Rondon said,
shouldn't have left Almiron on my bench.
Get out of the way. I'm taking a free kick, and he hit it very, very nicely indeed. That's back-to-back assists now for Almiron. Is he one that's on your radar?
Well, it was on my bench.
He's on your bench. Well, clearly they are away at Arsenal in 32. So again, we're not going to spend too much time because I don't think we're going to be talking about these guys in terms of 32. But just know...
Well, Arsenal defensively aren't solid, so, you know...
True, but you're not bringing them in, are you? If you're on a free hit, you're not bringing in Newcastle away at Arsenal.
Okay, so if you're in my position, then now it's a bit different because I don't have any, but if you're in my position and you're not free hitting in 32 and you want to protect yourself for 33 as well and therefore not field a full set of double game weekers for 32,
yeah.
So if you want to hit maybe 1 or 2 singles... Is Rondon such a bad one if you've got him?
Do you know what? It's not crazy because I keep thinking about this from my perspective, which is would I get him in my free hit? But you're right.
Well, no,
if you're not free hitting and you've got an eye on the future, maybe 33 where they are home to Palace. So maybe, you know, you're right.
From my point of view, I've got to think about it from a game week 32 and 33 point of view. Now it's slightly different for me because I obviously don't own him, but if I owned Rondon, he'd be the sort of player that I might be inclined to put out in that game week just because...
In 32?
Yeah. If you couldn't get a full set of doubles and you needed to keep a transfer ready for fielding a good team in 33, which is going to be a lot of people's issue, why would you not? I mean, Arsenal defensively aren't great, so... Might be worth it.
Very good, all right. Well,
if you don't have a choice. If you're free hitting, I wouldn't, but...
So there we go. Both Bournemouth and Newcastle assets. I think firmly on the radar.
Yeah.
But with Bournemouth being away at Leicester and Newcastle at Arsenal, I don't think that either of those sides are going to feature in my free hit. But you're right. If you've played it already and you're looking down the line, then absolutely. In game week 33, Bournemouth are at home to Burnley. Newcastle are at home to Palace. So yeah, don't discount these. Don't discount these. If you're on a free hit, forget them, I think, but don't discount them if you're not. So there we go. Those were the games. A weird game week. Only 1 clean sheet from Everton, of all people. From Everton.
Chelsea as well.
Which was frankly bonkers. And 3 goals for Huddersfield. And yeah, it's just absolutely a weird game week. Where, you know, I think if you're up into the sort of 40s and 50s, I think you're doing very well indeed. We'll look at our teams in a moment because we want to give it a couple more minutes just to update. Let's have a look at a couple of slides I've pulled together here. Here are the game week 32 fixtures, and as you guys have already pointed out in the live stream, Ben has updated these already. So get on to at Ben Crelling on Twitter, and you will find an updated version of this. But given what you can see here, Sam, what do you make of? If you were free hitting, then let's say on for game week 32, where would your priorities be outside of Fulham and Cardiff and Man City? I think that's a given. Which other teams would you be looking at the treble up from?
The treble up.
If you were going to treble, yeah, treble City I think is on. Would you treble on Man United with Watford at home and Wolves away?
Well, I have. So I've got 3.
You have got 3. Okay, which 3 have you got?
Rashford, Pogba and Lindelof.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, so thank goodness that red card got rescinded yesterday because I was going
yes, the Lindelof
mental,
red card,
wasn't I?
Yeah.
Absolutely mental.
I actually think that double for United is even better than it looks on paper, actually. You think about Watford versus Wolves are going to have... Both of those guys are going to have more than one eye on the Cup, aren't they? They've just drawn each other in the semi-final of the Cup. So they are going to be probably resting, probably rotating a little bit around those Manchester United games. Away to Wolves is not easy. It's not easy. Going to Molineux, very difficult game. But if Wolves have got one eye on the cup, which they probably will have, that is one where United could do quite well. Particularly Rashford, if Lukaku is still out. We need to keep an eye on Lukaku's ankle, I think it is, his ankle. I think from the reports I've heard, it's not awful. I think there's a potential that he comes back, in the short term, couple of weeks.
But they were playing together as well, Rashford and Lukaku. So.
They were, although Rashford was becoming less and less effective because he was being pushed out left, wasn't he? And Lukaku was in the middle. I must admit,
you're not going to get rid of him before a double game week.
No, but I must admit, going into my free hit on 32, I was looking at Lukaku as being not just a staple for that free hit team, but maybe even a captain. I don't know. Maybe even thinking Lukaku could absolutely come into my team for free hit 32, but unless I can see that he's going to recover from that injury in good enough time to make it back for that first Watford game, then I don't. If I pick him in my free hit and he just plays Wolves away, I'm going to be gutted, aren't I?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with my 3. I think they should play. Given now Man United are out the cup as well, so it's just Champions League to fight for them, and obviously the actual Champions League that they're still in. Then I think 3 Man United for me makes total sense to keep them.
Okay. So potentially 3 City, 3 Man United. What other teams are you looking
at? Spurs. And I've had a lot of messages and comments on my on Instagram over the last couple of days about which Spurs. And obviously
Liverpool away and Crystal Palace at home.
And obviously Kane is the big kind of talking point. But for me, and everyone's been saying, what should I do about Son? Because some people are still holding Sonny. If you don't have a Spurs asset at all, I'd get Dele Alli.
You see, now I like that. I like that, particularly where I am with my rank, and we'll cover my overall rank and how it's fallen on the back end of this game week. I'm over 200k again now. So if I want something a bit different, which I do in my free hit in 32, I do want something different. There's no point me playing a template. No. Pointless. I might as well go for some differentials. Dele Alli is absolutely what I'm looking at.
I really like Dele Alli as a pick. I think Dele Alli is exactly the sort of player that we need going into this end of season fixtures. He's just come back from injury, so we know he's fit. We know he's fire. He'll be utterly pumped up for the end of the season because that's the sort of player he is. He's the sort of player that when it comes to it, he will go for it. And I think for me, looking at that Spurs team, Son, yes, of course he's a great player, but for me, I really do fancy Dele for the running. I really do.
Okay, so Dele Alli, a nice differential. I also like, I think FPL Chancellor said it in the live chat a minute ago, Batshuayi.
Yes.
So Crystal Palace at home to Huddersfield, and then obviously away at Spurs is very difficult.
But defensively, we're not that great.
But do you know what? That game at Spurs is, as we've mentioned before, that's the first one in the new stadium. Anything can happen that game.
What?
Look, listen, you go to a new stadium, the pressure's on Spurs, the crowd's like, it's the first game in the stadium, we want to win. Palace on the beach, they're just going to rock up.
Genuinely, do you want to get divorced?
Just saying. I'm just making the point that because it'll be a weird game because it'll be in a new environment and the crowd will be up for it. But listen, all right, so, okay, I'll stop. Palace at home to Huddersfield then as the first fixture. Even with that, you'd have to fancy it. The fact that they then go away to Spurs in what could be a weird game. The fact
that he'll get a 2-pointer in the Spurs game.
The fact that he tops up that score with 2 points from Spurs, Sam. Yeah, absolutely. Struggle with you sometimes when it comes to Spurs. Palace.
What do you mean it's a struggle with you?
So Batshuayi, Zaha, people like that. Those are the sorts of players, guys, that I will be looking at on my free hit. I want to go a bit rogue. I don't want to go crazy and not do full-on Man City and Man United, but I'm going to be plugging those gaps probably with some players that are low ownership, some nice differentials, and I like Dele Alli and I like Batshuayi.
James Ward-Prowse?
James Ward-Prowse for Southampton will have a double, Brighton and Watford by the looks of it, although TBC. Have a look at Ben's Twitter for the update, but yes, James Ward-Prowse, 2 away games. I don't think to be that good away, Southampton.
Can score against Spurs?
Absolutely can, he absolutely can.
If you're looking for differential picks, James Ward-Prowse might be a nice one. Like you say, the Palace assets, they could be decent ones.
Wolves, what do you think about Wolves? Burnley away and then Man United at home. We're going to have one eye on the Cup. What do we do with Jimenez and Doherty?
Well, I'm keeping Jimenez. I don't know what to do about Doherty. I'm going to keep him for game week 32 on the basis that he's a doubler and I'm not playing my free hit, so sure. I'll have him for 32. And then I will probably lose him in favour of getting somebody who plays in 33 in for 33. But yeah, I kind of feel like with Wolves, Jimenez against the top 6 sides has been brilliant this season.
You're absolutely right.
So just because they're playing Man United, sorry Josh, doesn't mean that you shouldn't play Jimenez. I mean, we surely learnt that against Chelsea last week, that Jimenez can score against anybody.
Yes, absolutely.
So yes.
Well, he just has, didn't he? Just scored against United the other day, yesterday.
Yeah. So for me, Jimenez is another one that you can't get rid of it. I can't understand this getting rid of Jimenez thing.
I think him a free hit in 32. I think Jimenez is there.
Yeah.
I think he's there.
Well, he's no,
he's definitely there. Doherty, on the other hand.
Yeah, but if you're free hitting, I can understand not having Doherty.
Yeah, sure.
Because I think there's better defensive options there, because Manchester United will likely score. So there are better defensive options that you could have that have double game weeks if you're free hitting. But if you're not free hitting, like me, Doherty, with the potential that he has for getting attacking returns, looks like a nice double game week.
It's a bit of a luxury transfer to take him out, isn't
it?
Correct,
yeah, absolutely. But for 33, I can see why you'd lose him at 33, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, much to ponder, guys, so keep an eye on everyone's Twitter, frankly, and all the Reddit sites and Scout and everywhere else, because there'll be plenty of rate my teams knocking about. There'll be plenty of, what do you think of this free hit team? What do you think of that free hit team? But I think in terms of my initial thoughts, and again, we'll do another live stream closer to game week 32, but my initial thoughts are loading up on City and Manchester United seems like a very sensible thing to do. Filling around those 6 with some nice differentials from teams that have got nice looking doubles like Palace, like Spurs, like Wolves. Seems again like a sensible thing to do, and then maybe having a couple of rogue picks like from Maddison from Leicester at home to Bournemouth, and don't forget the single game weekers. There are some nice games in there. Liverpool and Spurs could be a cagey affair, could be a very low scoring affair, could be 0-0. Who knows?
Oh, that'll be alright. I've got Lloris.
So there we go. So that's my initial thoughts on a strategy. But listen, it's going to change, of course, over the next 2 weeks, and I can't believe we're not going to make it through an international break without a key injury somewhere. Someone somewhere is going to get injured. They always do on international break.
Yeah, and that's why it's fine with the free hit. Play your free hit, absolutely. But what we said earlier, that's why you've just got to be careful of the value, because if somebody gets injured and then you want one of your players back again that you've just transferred out, just be aware of it.
Absolutely. Let's see what you guys are saying in the live chat. Neil Kager. Neil, thank you. Carl Walker. Nice little pick.
He's
nice
a
little
differential
pick. Not many people got him up. I like that.
I like him too.
Let's see what else you guys are saying. Lots of Wolves rotation. Neil is also saying, I think you're absolutely right. Let's see what else. Tim Gravgard. Go Tim Ream and don't come back. Not sure about that.
I think if you go Tim Ream, there is no coming back.
No, there's definitely no coming back from Tim Ream.
If you get him in your fantasy team, that's it. The season's over.
Delafeu, if Watford play Fulham in game week 32, Shashank is saying yes, Delafeu can turn up on his day, no doubt about it. Bernardo Silva, as he is saying, he's been a massive player for City this year, isn't he? Silva, absolutely massive player. And what a goal he scored the other night. What a goal. Fantastic strike. Neil again saying Palace could hold Spurs. Ooh, not sure about that. Let's see. It'll be in the new stadium.
Tell you what, if we don't beat Palace in the new stadium, I'm going to hold you personally responsible, Mr. Bonfield.
Half Pint is saying, I hate it when Mum and Dad fight. Luke Canadine is saying, don't wind her up, Lee. And A. Samatar is saying, Dele Alli, a very good shout. Let's see how he gets on for England into internationals. Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, there we go. So there's that. So that's game week 32. The other screen that I had prepped up was this for game week 33. Again, thanks to Ben Crannan for helping me to screenshot this. So this is how game week 33 is going to look, guys. And I'm pretty sure these are now locked in. So for those of you that are free hitting in 32, don't forget that your team that you've got right now will obviously come back into game week 33, and a lot of the players that we've had this game week that have delivered all these 1s and 2s, will be delighted to have them back clearly in game week 33 when all of those players
all go again,
more or less go again
with a couple more.
With a couple more. So Arsenal are now in consideration. Southampton in there too. Palace as well, who weren't playing this game week, and there must be one other, I think. Is that it? I think that's it, isn't it? Who else didn't play? That's it, I think. So Arsenal, Palace and Southampton, the ones to consider. So yeah, everybody that you've got in game week 31 that's delivered this frankly awful game week are going to be back for what hopefully is a much better game week in game week 33. If you're not on the free hit and you're considering getting in those double game week players for 32, a lot of them then won't play in game week 33. So if you're loading up on Man City, if you're going to load up on Manchester United for 32, careful, because you're not going to be able to play those in 33. Your thoughts on the 32 to 33 transition and how you're going to manage that? Is the wild card going to come into play?
Is it?
I'm asking you, is it? Because
no.
We've sat here and you've agreed that City, you've got load up on them.
No.
Tottenham, you've got Kane and Lloris.
I've got enough.
And you've got Manchester United, you've got 3 Man United.
Yeah.
Your game week 33 is looking in the hole, Sam from FPL Family. So give us your strategy.
Well, I'm sort of hoping. So there's
hope.
Well, blooming Millwall, they massively let me down today. I'm hoping that they rearrange that Brighton game, the Brighton Palace. No, which game is it? Who is it? Brighton Palace. Yeah, I'm hoping that they put that into. There's a chance that could go into 33.
Right.
Which would be quite nice. Because then that would give me a keeper.
So that would be one more that you could play.
I think I've got 6 at the moment.
6.
But then I've got at the moment I've got teams I'm looking at going into the double. I'm obviously going to get another City. That's done. But then I'm probably going to look to get in a Southampton player and a Palace player. So then I'll be covered with I can bench my City players, and I probably won't have a full team for 33.
No.
But I'll probably have 10.
10. Okay, with a view to wildcard 34.
Yeah, for bench boost in 35.
For bench boost in 35. Okay, guys. Well, listen, it is the time of the season when stuff starts getting really complicated. There's no doubt about it. And without writing it down or, just talking through it, it's actually quite hard, isn't it? But it is the time of the season when it starts getting real. And it was always going to be, for those of us that weren't free hitting in 31, and even for those that did eventually free hit in 31, it was a bit of a. It stalled a little bit at the start. It stalled. Game week 31 was a bit of a bad game week, wasn't it? But I'm hopeful for 32. 32 looks as if it's got the potential to be huge. Could be absolutely huge. And then 33, you've got the likes of Arsenal, Southampton, Palace coming back, so you've got more options there, right?
What I quite like about 32 is that the free hit teams will be different and varied, whereas the free hit teams in 31 have been very similar, and they've led to sort of very, very similar scores from the free hitters amongst us.
Well, I think that was always my thoughts on when to play the free hit, was that the 31 template for free hit was always going to be pretty much that. It was always going to be similar sorts of players. You might go for a Lanzini over an Anderson, or you might have gone for, I don't know, an Almiron over Rondon, but it was always going to be, there was always a very limited pool of players to pick from. Whereas in 32, there's bloody loads to pick from.
Yeah, I mean, but for me, the 3 players that I would have had playing in 30, it was the right thing to do. I had 3 players, and I needed to have 3 players in order to have Sterling and Mane doing what they were doing for me the weeks before. So for me, it's worked, and actually, the free hit has given me a little green arrow, so it's put me in sort of roughly the direction I want to go in. It's just I've now got to get through 32, which feels okay with triple captain on Sterling. Just don't get injured.
Oh, I forgot about your triple captain.
Just do not get injured going into game week 32, Sterling.
Right. Let's go and see how our teams got on then. Let's very, very quickly go through mine, because it is not a very good tale of... It's not a tale of joy, guys. It's not a tale of joy. 29 points, which is really bad. Obviously, the triple captain failed massively. A game week rank of 2.4, which feels about right, but that overall rank of 176 doesn't feel right to me. I'm pretty sure I'm outside the top 200k, so I'm expecting the overall rank to drop a little bit, but that's where we are. 29 points, absolutely rubbish. And as somebody said on Twitter earlier, which I thought was great, reading through my team sounds like I'm checking the microphone. 1 2 2 2 1 2 2 1 2 0. And Madison with 9. So there we go. Absolutely awful week. Onwards and upwards to game week 32. Let's have a look at your team. Where are you? You were in here. And then in here. 38. 38. Game week rank of 1.1. Feels solid. Feels solid. Talk us through your team.
Look at the bench. Should have played them.
Ooh, Ake with an assist. That would have been unexpected, wouldn't it? 5 for Almiron.
No, it wouldn't have been unexpected, because I said about it on the FPL show. I said...
Why did you put him third sub then?
Because I'm an idiot. Genuinely an idiot. Yeah, I mean, Rondon is a hero.
Mane's saving the day, isn't he?
Mane should have been my captain. I've got to stop. I've got to stop with all this. Like, if they might be injured, then just... And always I just think I'll leave the captain's armband on them, because if they play, they play, and if they're injured, then they won't play at all. And I don't know why I didn't follow that this time. I really don't. I just panicked and put it on Salah in case he got a 1-point cameo. It is what it is. It's still a green arrow. We go on.
I was going to say, despite your malaise, despite the negativity, and despite Ake with an assist on the bench, A green arrow, Sam, which is not to be sniffed at this game week. Up from 12k to 11.9. So it must be a very small green arrow. But listen, you will take it. You will 100% take it. Let's have a look at the...
It's a K.
It's 1k up. 1k up, which is good. We take it. Let's have a look at the live stream regulars. Let's see how you guys are getting on. Not sure these scores are updated. Ryan in there with 31. Not a bad score. Is Richarlison still in his team? Goodness me, I can't believe that. He must have brought him back in, I would guess. Richarlison in there, 31 for Ryan. Let's see how Naomi's getting on. 22. Very tough game week for Naomi. Very, very tough.
Well, hardly anyone's played there.
Hardly anyone playing. I can't believe that Naomi would have put that team out with so many gaps. Maybe she just thought...
No chips.
Let's just... No chips. Maybe no chips left. Let's see. Who knows? Manahar in at number 3 with 24. Again, a tough game week for Manahar. Antonio 1, Barnes. Again, Barnes I thought was a good pick for this week, right? I thought Barnes would be a good pick.
Yeah, I did too.
So overall ranks, as ever, not to be sniffed at. Ian Wilson sneaking up into 4th there. 51 with a free hit. Very nice that, Ian. Very nice score. Very nice score. Mane, captain, doing the business. Madison, and then 2s and 1s. It felt like that sort of game week, didn't it? It was all 2s and 1s, but there was a handful of players, maybe... Mane, Madison, Rondon, King, 4 or 5 players that, depending on how many you had, kind of determined how you did. There wasn't a lot going on, guys. There really wasn't a lot of big scores. Let's just check one more score. Mark Nunes, patron Mark Nunes. Let's see how Mark's getting on. 45 points, pretty solid. Pretty solid from Mark. Not
Rondon,
bad.
heroic.
Rondon and King doing the business. Salah captain stinging, but certainly King and Rondon doing the business. Very good, guys. Let's have a look at the FPL Family Manager of the Month for March. Normally, we would go to Live FPL, we go to Premier Fantasy Tools or sites to that effect, but they are down. I don't think the algorithms can handle the blank game weeks, and frankly, the mind boggles as to what that algorithm might look like, so I'm not even going to question it.
Goodness knows what it's going to think when it gets to a double game week then.
Oh, it's going to be mind-blowing, isn't it?
It's going to explode.
So the leagues are still updating, guys, but this is our Patreon family, FPL Family Manager of the Month for March, so well done if you are leading the way here. And it looks like Brian is out front at the moment, 31 in the game week, a game week rank of 2.1, which looks pretty nice indeed. A solid game week, solid. Rondon doing the business, Felipe Anderson finally returning for him with an assist. So 31 is okay, it's okay. Gareth is in second here with 58. Nice game week there from Gareth. That could make all the difference come the end of the month. So that is Mane as captain, King in there as well with 13 points. Dina as well with the 6 at the back there. Very nice from Gareth. And then Joe in third, 33. So a solid game week from Joe. Felipe Anderson finally coming back with some points. Madison with 9. So a solid looking game week. Overall rank for Joe, 23k by the way. Very good indeed, Joe.
Well done, Joe.
Very, very good indeed. So there we are, guys. A full Manager of the Month update on Twitter and on Patreon coming your way pretty soon once the game week has updated. But it looks as if Brian and Gareth and Joe and Keith and Gareth Roberts and you, Sam, in 6th, could win.
Oh, for goodness sake.
The £100 kit bag voucher.
About as much chance of winning that league as Watford have of winning the FA Cup.
Oh, savage. Absolutely savage.
Sorry,
well, listen, before the game week, 142, and Brian's only on 147, and you've had a reasonable game week.
Well, let's be clear on this. Even if I do win it, I'm not going to win it.
It's true, yes, it's true.
So it doesn't matter.
It would just cause a bit of a storm in the Slack.
The Slack will explode.
The Slack will explode.
And whoever comes second will win it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Just to be clear, guys,
for
all of our patrons, if Sam wins, I won't win. Trust me. Trust me, I'm getting nowhere near it.
Triple Captain Sterling comes in.
But if Triple Captain Sterling comes in and you end up winning Manager of the Month for March, you cannot win.
No, we're just in it for the fun.
We are in it for the... Is that what you describe FPL as? Doesn't feel much like fun at the minute.
I'm in it for the stress it caused.
We're in FPL for the stress.
I had the worst headache all day yesterday.
You did. It was definitely an FPL headache.
It was dreadful.
100% a free hit headache.
Oh.
You had to actually have some proper, paracetamol and stuff, didn't you?
Yeah, loads of them.
Proper Salah captain headache. That was awful. So, guys, if you're a Patreon of FPL Family, if you support us over on there, patreon.com/FPL Family, get over there. And if you want to support us, we'd love you to do that. As ever, we always say on these live streams, not a prerequisite for being on these live streams, but head over, hit the link that's in the description, head over there. And if you want to support us, you want to get involved with our Ohana podcasts, if you want to get involved with our Manager of the Month competitions that we also do, the winner gets this month £100 worth of vouchers for kitbag.com, which is a site where you can buy your shirts and your football gear, whatever you want. Great site. So get over there. The winner will get £100 of vouchers for this month. The league is closed for this month. I should add that. So if you're already a patron, you're in the league, great. If not, get over to Patreon and join. It's basically free for a couple of weeks because you don't get charged for Patreon until the end of the month. So if you want to come and be a patron, come and join. Be free for a couple of weeks. Check it out. Maybe you'll get Ohana next Friday. You get to see a bit about what we do on the site.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. What are we going to talk about this week? Is this international break?
I don't know. Could talk about the FPL players that are out on international break. I don't know, guys. But if you want to come and
something to talk about.
If you want to come and check us out, come and be a $3 patron for a couple of weeks. And if you don't like it after a couple of weeks, just cancel it. It gets charged on the last day of the month, ready for the next month. So if you don't like it, just cancel it. But come and check us out for a couple of weeks for free, effectively, as long as you prepare to cancel at the end of the month. And for those of you that are in the March Manager of the Month, and there's a lot of you already in our Slack as well, thank you. We're having cool discussions in the Slack. The Slack
I really
is great.
love the Slack.
The Slack is good, and I think that the more it grows, the better it's going to get, actually. So if you're a Patreon and you're not in the Slack, get over to the unlocked, it should be an unlocked post in Patreon. You get into the Slack, download the app, etc, etc. If you're having any trouble doing any of that, give me a DM, give Sam a DM on Insta or anything like that.
I don't know if you should ask me about technical stuff. I broke the computer last time I touched it.
Yeah.
I'll try.
But even you, Sam from FPL Family, can deal with Slack. It's just a chat forum, isn't it? It's effectively a chat platform. All the patrons are in there. You and I are in there.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of match day chat. I like the match day chat in particular.
Yeah, I like
when Gameweek.
When the Gameweek's on, it's good.
When the game week is live, it's good, isn't it? Really,
I like the little competition of who can say who scored a goal and got an assist first.
You should get on Twitter. There's people doing that left, right, and centre. Before we go, guys, we've got to check out the polls. So let's go back to here. Let's go into here. Only 3 questions for you this evening. What to do with Doherty and Jimenez, Sam? Would you keep both, sell both? Sell Doherty or sell Jimenez?
Well, this is right. So I'm going to say this from a non-free hitting point of view.
Sure.
Keep both.
Keep both. Okay, very good. 34% keep both. 48% though are saying sell Doherty. So it goes back to what you said before, right? And I think that is because most people are going to be on a free hit. I think you're absolutely right. So given that he doesn't play in 33, getting rid of Doherty on your free hit, probably not a bad shout. Keep both 34, sell both 12%, and sell Jimenez 5%. I can't think why you want to sell Jimenez. Just can't think. Such a player.
No.
Which of these single game week teams, Sam, deserve our attention? We should not forget that these guys have got nice fixtures in 32, even though they don't play twice. They only play once. Arsenal at home to Newcastle, Liverpool at home to Tottenham, Leicester at home to Bournemouth, Everton away at West Ham, or Burnley away at Wolves. I'm going to answer that, and I'm going to answer Leicester. I think Leicester are the ones to look out for.
And if you'd have asked me, my other single game week who I'm going to play this week, other than Mane, Iwobi, I'd have said Arsenal.
Iwobi. So you think Arsenal at home to Newcastle? We should not forget, even though they're not on a double, Arsenal, don't overlook them. 57% agree with you, Sam.
They are in. They need to keep winning.
They do. You're absolutely right, and they're not doing too bad at the minute.
No, they're not.
They're not doing too bad. Lacazette and Aubameyang is a very nice combination.
We might get another superhero mask.
We might get another Black Panther thing. You might be right. So Arsenal at home to Newcastle. 57% agree with you, Sam. Don't forget about those guys. 18% they're going with me. Leicester at home to Bournemouth. 15% Liverpool at home to Tottenham. Everton away at West Ham, and Burnley away at Wolves. 3%. So I think that's the community saying don't worry about Everton and Burnley, but Arsenal, Leicester, Liverpool, don't forget about those guys. Primary source, here's the main question. Primary source of points for double game week 32. So whether you're free hitting or not, who are we loading up on outside of Man City? Because Man City is a given. United, Wolves, Chelsea, Palace or Brighton? What do you think?
United.
I think it is United, isn't it? 52% of you saying Manchester United, who play Watford at home and then Wolves away, both of whom are going to have an eye on the cup, no doubt about it. Okay. 52% say Man United. So Rashford, Pogba, probably Lindelof, probably Shaw, maybe De Gea, all going to be popular picks. Lukaku if he's fit as well. Martial even. Martial back and fully fit, ready to play. Chelsea, people saying Chelsea, Cardiff and Brighton, and that must be 37% of you saying Chelsea. On the basis of those fixtures. It can only be fixtures, guys, because the form Chelsea are in right now and the way that they look today in particular, and I know they went away to Kiev and they scored 5 goals, I get all of that, but goodness me, they look bad. And tell me, how bad was Marcus Alonso today? One of the worst defensive performances I've seen in a long time.
I genuinely find the whole Marcus Alonso thing quite upsetting.
It's weird, isn't it?
I don't understand at all.
He's gone from FPL god to non-entity. You wouldn't touch him with a barge pole.
I just don't get it. I blame Sarri.
Yeah, body language all over the place. Ditch him if you've got him, and don't get him.
Nobody's got him, have they now? It's too expensive to have him.
I don't think so. So Chelsea are away at Cardiff and home to Brighton. 37. So sad.
It is so sad. I love Alonso.
30. Why?
look at what he's done for us over the years of FPL. Actually, not for you, because you're Christensen.
I got Christensen. As usual, I'm on the wrong end of that conversation. 37% saying Chelsea, 4% saying Wolves, 5% saying Palace, and no one saying Brighton. Don't worry about Brighton at home to Southampton and away at Chelsea. So those, apart from City, people are going to be loading up on Man United, going to be loading up on Chelsea, with a nod also to Palace and maybe even to Wolves. That's kind of interesting. I think Palace, they are the dark horses there. I know it's the Spurs game. Yeah, absolutely. I know it's the Spurs game, but it's going to be the first one in the stadium. It just could be a weird game.
I don't like you tonight.
Could be a weird game. And Huddersfield at home. Batshuayi's coming in for me, I think. I like him as a differential. I'm going to have Batshuayi and Ali in that game.
You should have Ali.
I'm probably going to have Ali. I like that.
I genuinely put it out there. I can't get him because it puts me in a predicament for 33, but Ali's the one I'd like.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Leo is saying, don't remind us about Christensen.
Sorry, Leo.
We had to mention it.
Sorry.
Andrew Yee says, this could all change if Sarri is sacked, Sam. Sarri to be sacked before game week 32. Thoughts?
What, is that happening?
I don't know. Andrew Yee starting all sorts of rumours. Get onto Sky quickly. Flipping heck. Sarri sacked.
We're not watching Sky Sports News. Quick, put it on. Is he getting fired?
No, I don't think he is.
I mean, he should be. He looked like he wanted to be at the end of that game today.
Listen, there is a case for it. There is a case for it. Guys, that is it for this evening. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us. It's been... Well, I was going to say a rollercoaster game week. It's been weird game week, just a weird one. I'm glad to see the back of it. I'll be honest with you. I did think that coming into this chip strategy period, that 31 would be challenging. It would be difficult. There was only 5 fixtures. I thought I could maybe get ahead of the game by triple captaining Salah. Disastrous result on the back of that, and generally just a really bad game week for me. A pretty average one for you as well. But a green arrow is very good.
I'll just take
given
it.
Given that you've gone from 12 to 11k in a game week that we've just had when all sorts of stuff was kicking off, I think you absolutely take it. So guys, well done to those of you that did well this game week, because frankly it was a real weird one. It was a real weird one. I'm glad to see the back of it. Roll on game week 32. It's going to be free hit tinkering from now on for the next couple of weeks.
If we make it back, because we're off to get divorced in a minute.
That's it, we're done because you hate me now for game week 32. Liverpool versus Spurs. Amidst all of the double game week stuff that's going to be going on, it's also a huge FPL family derby. Liverpool
and
versus
it's on Mother's
Spurs.
Day. Don't ruin Mother's Day for me.
Oh my god, Mother's Day.
Yeah, do not ruin Mother's Day. I mean, last year on Mother's Day, if you recall, we were on a flight where our little one was sick over
Puked up over you for about 8 hours. Yeah.
And we got stuck
Great
in.
Mother's
Where
Day,
did we get stuck? Q8 for 4 hours.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So this year, please don't ruin Mother's Day.
Yeah. Well, listen, I
hold you personally responsible.
I can't think of anything more than really, really wanting to ruin your Mother's Day by beating you at Anfield. It's got to happen. We've got to win. We're going for the title, Sam. I'm sorry. It's our first time. You know I got a soft spot for Spurs, but that goes out the window when you're playing Liverpool, and you know that's the case.
Husband.
You know that's the case.
The job?
Get on to FPL Family on Instagram if you want to be Sam's husband. There we go. That's it for tonight, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. See you over on Twitter at FPL Family. Sam will see you over on Instagram at FPL Family. Get over to Patreon, patreon.com/FPL Family. Try us out for a couple of weeks. If you don't like it, cancel at the end of the month. Come and join in the Slack. The Slack is going great.
Make it through international break.
Fingers crossed. No Sterling injuries. No Aguero injuries.
Actually cry. If Sterling gets injured, I'll cry.
That's it, guys. Well done this game week. We'll be back in a couple of weeks.
We might.
In the lead up to 32. We might be back. Who knows? This could be the last live stream. If it's the last live stream...
it's been great.
It's been great knowing you all.
No, we will be back. We'll be back for a preview of 32.
Not if we're divorced. It might be a remote one. I'll Skype you in.
Well, the technology works at least.
The technology works. I'll Skype you in from St Albans Crown Court. Guys, we've descended into chaos. Good night. See you in a couple of weeks. Cheers.
Bye, guys.